Back when buffet restaurants were still a great thing, all I can do is think about that carving station. And what the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down there and request the medium rare slices of that prime rib they have under those heat lamps. And yes, sir, I would love some au jus. What's that? Did you mention you have creamy horseradish sauce as well? Where's that? Oh, awesome. Great. What's that? You have an end piece for me as well? Yes, please put it on my plate. Thank you, sir. Those were the days. But let's try to make this at home. Why not? And also, why don't we try it two ways? Why don't we try it dry aged? And why do we try it fresh like we're used to? Let's give it a shot. Welcome to D's Eats. Here's an easy way to dry age meat at home. Go grab one of these little beer fridges and put a fan in it for air circulation and line it with some Himalayan salt blocks to prevent bad bacteria. You'll also need a thermometer to make sure it never goes over 40 and never goes under 30 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty much it. Set a date depending on how long you want to go and check it from time to time to make sure that it's not over or under. Alright, so here it is. Got about 3 months. So let's go ahead and start carving out this hard pellicle stuff. As you can see. And this is going to be our prime rib. As you can see right here. There we go. So now we're gonna look. Let's go see a piece right there. Here's our completed product. And here, garbage, beauty. Since prime ribs are typically a large piece of meat, I want the salt to penetrate to the center. That's why I'm going to give them both a dry brine on this rack and into the fridge for 24 hours. After a day of dry brining in the fridge, I'm going to get both pieces out and lay them on this baking rack. I like the racks because the air can circulate all around the meat as opposed to laying it flat on something. So what we're going to do is gather both pieces, rub them like this, stare at them for a little bit, put them down, touch them with our 2 fingers just like that, and then do this kind of motion right here. And then little birdie beaks on the sides as I move it back around. Okay, next piece of meat we're going to put right down here. It's pretty big. This one has also been dry brining. I let this one go a little bit longer since it's a bigger piece of meat. So now we're going to add olive oil. Spin it around, add olive oil again, add olive oil, rub it around, splash it around, lots of olive oil. Now we're going to put some cracked pepper on it. Remember, we're not going to add salt. Herbs of Provence, we definitely want that to give it that traditional prime rib flavor. Flip it around, a little more herbs of Provence. Okay, now we're going to put our thermometers in. put them both in, and we're gonna set the temp to 120. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna let it rest. I have a microwave. I just stick it right in the microwave. I'm gonna let it rest. Oh, I'm pointing that way now. So I'm gonna put it in the oven at 375. First one to reach 120 wins the microwave award. What happens to be the little one. So we're gonna wrap it up, and then we're going to place it in the microwave. Or you could put it into another container. Now that I have both of them resting, we can remove it and safely say it went up to a medium rare. So get yourself a nice little cutting station such as this. We're going to start off with the aged. What's up, YouTube? Here we are.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be back.
Yeah, we missed you guys.
Thank you. Glad to be
Daryl,
back. Glad to be back.
BFF, back in town. He heard about beef, and it didn't take much convincing after that.
I was able to put myself in an opportunistic position.
Yes, and all of us thank you dearly for coming here and eating some beef. And telling us about it.
Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it, and you are quite an honorable man. So
glad to be here.
Again, everybody, thanks you.
Glad to be here.
Yes. I have two exact same prime boneless ribeyes, and I'm going to do a prime rib. I have had some requests, and I said, you know, why not? So I had already been aging, and as you can see, I started one. So we have one for about 90 days, about 3 months now, versus a fresh one that you would normally see at a buffet.
A standard, traditional buffet.
Yeah, like a traditional prime rib that you typically have that's cut, you know what I mean? So here we have our traditional, and here we have a 90-day dry aged, okay?
It's a lot. Why is this one so much smaller?
So obviously, as I showed you, when I put it in, it was the same size as this, and the 3 month later mark when I took it out, it was just a rock.
Okay.
And so basically, I just had to sit there and carve. I'm probably gonna have to fast forward on camera with the carving because it just took me a long time because I wanted to make sure I had all the pellicles removed.
Yep.
Because I've tried pellicles, guys, they do not taste good.
No bueno.
No bueno.
No good.
So this one's going to be denser because remember, when you dry age, a lot of the water gets displaced. Yep. However, the flavorful fat doesn't go anywhere. So when you look at it, and if you see it on camera, you'll see that it almost appears like there's almost as much fat content marbling as there is meat. Because as the dry age, there's more water in the meat, way more water in the actual red meat than there is in fat. So when the water's displaced, it's like the meat is getting smaller and the fat is staying the same size, but visually it looks like there's more fat now.
Right, and does that also mean that the flavor, in theory, is intensified?
In theory, the flavor is intensified because yes, you've removed the water, so the beefiness raises, and now you have just like the beefiness and the fat. But the thing that you're giving up is the tenderness. Okay, people say yeah, it's tender because there's less chew. I think that's the deterioration of the aging process.
Okay.
However, there's a definite like there's give. You know, as opposed to like a new one with some gristly bits and stuff like that.
Right.
But guys, we're talking way too much. This steak is sitting here getting cold. Yes. Let's give it a shot. You are the special guest of the day.
Wow.
You decide which one goes first. Can I suggest?
Please.
I say we use this as our control, which means it's your typical prime rib, and it's all cooked to a medium rare. And by the way, I didn't mention this. So I cooked it to 120, and a lot of people with a prime rib, you want to really let it rest, especially if it's a larger chunk, because your temp will go up 10 to 20 Fahrenheit, 10 to 20 degrees after you cook it. Yeah, if you cover it correctly. So timing is key. So 120 is usually my thing. So what I did, and I showed you, is I covered it in tin foil and I put it in my microwave because it's pretty solid inside of a microwave. There's
Yeah.
no, you know what I mean?
Yep,
It's
yep.
almost like a little built-in cooler here in your house.
Yep.
I'll shut up, guys.
You didn't turn it on the microwave. That was a place where you stored it and let
I
it
just
do its
stored
thing.
it and let it just redistribute the juices,
Cool.
as opposed to outside where it can cool down fast.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
A lot of times you'll see people put it into a cooler.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Just to stop the process.
Or if they've been cooking a pork roast for like 12 hours on a smoker, you'll see it put it in a cooler for like an hour, because that's how long it'll take for all the juices to just to redistribute.
Makes total
Because you
sense.
gotta understand, the heat's coming at it, all the juices are going towards the inside, so now it's a little dry on the outside, so you want to, when the heat stops, the juices start just coming back towards the edges, and that's what you really want.
You are an artist, the way you describe it. It's you've painted a beautiful picture of how it works.
But here's the
Unbelievable.
problem with me. I'm keeping us from eating.
Yeah, stop talking.
I'll stop talking.
All right,
guys.
Let's start with that one, like you said.
You begin, I cut it, you have a knife, and we're gonna have some fat blobbiness, as I like to call it, but that just comes with the prime rib territory. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot less on the dry age, because you saw me carve all the fat out. So
Okay.
here we go. Got a little audience there in the corner.
Young Talon's over there in the corner.
Yeah,
Or
I have.
Trent, rather. Excuse me.
I have sons.
Got Trent over there.
All right, traditional ribeye. Wait for me, dude. Jeez, he's hungry. I have a feeling he's hungry. I said, "Hey, Daryl, what can we make for a side?" He's like, "Beef."
Don't need sides.
Yeah. So you want beef with your beef?
Beef with my beef.
Yeah, that's what we're
Hard to go wrong with
I think we've got enough here.
I think so.
All right, dude. So
Now, I got a little more rare cut than you did. That's okay.
it's all right. It's all right.
You cooked it. You tasted it.
All right. Battle of the beef, dry age versus fresh prime rib. Take one. Round one. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Here we go.
Here we go. Delicious.
Absolutely.
It's prime rib, isn't it? I think, just salt and pepper obviously is great. Prime rib is typically a roast, and then it's cut, as opposed to a steak, or each slice is just seared separately, however you do it. But I think what helps discern traditional prime rib is obviously the salt, pepper, maybe a little olive oil on the outside, and they oftentimes use herbs de Provence, which is like a collection of rosemary, thyme, yeah, maybe some parsley, basil, things like that. It's a French kind of blend of herbs, but that is a distinct kind of flavor profile for our typical prime rib.
Absolutely.
So
Something we're all familiar with.
So you're getting a little feel for what you're
Yes, I am.
experiencing here.
Yes.
Would you?
A good feel.
Thank you, sir. Would you say? Yeah, pretty much typical prime rib. Good quality. It's,
Very delicious.
Not like a cheap quality. It's a decent quality prime rib.
Yeah, you did a higher grade of meat, right?
It's all prime grade. Yes. Here on these eats, we try for prime grade. However, there's places for choice, there's places for select, and there's some good places. So we'll go over those in the future. I'm gonna take one more bite because it's so good.
Yes.
And then I think before it gets too cold, we need to absolutely try the 3-month dry aged prime rib. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do this project, this experiment before.
If you have, excuse me, my mouth is full.
So is mine.
If you have done a dry aged prime rib, write in and let us know about it. Because my guess is most people probably have not prepared it that way, right?
I've never prepared it. I've never even heard of it.
No. If you have, let us know. We're curious to know.
But just seeing the cutting and what the yield is, I wanted to cry a little bit, because my favorite parts, like the smell thoroughly, had to be removed.
Yeah.
By the way, another side note, I'm not that knowledgeable, but if you are dry aging meat, and especially if it's something that can be accomplished with bone-in, say a bone-in ribeye, always choose that method, because the bone will stop the pellicle from growing in past the bone. So you remove the bone and it's just fresh meat ready to eat. I've dry aged for over a year, and if I have something with a bone, I always go that direction, because I cut that bone off and that's it. That's good meat to eat below that. Everything else I got to really get in there about an inch or so, depending how it is. All right, I'll shut up.
Good insight. Can we try this other one?
Let's try it. Let's do it. Let's try it. Ready? Dry aged prime rib. in a style of traditional prime rib. Here we go. So you got it?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I'm expecting a lot of different tastes.
All right, go ahead. You know what? I'll make it all.
Yeah.
Let me cleanse.
We love cleansing here.
I want to maximize the experience.
I probably should have said that. Here we go. Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Now, go into a little bit of why. I mean, it's delicious. But go into a little bit of why it's different.
Okay, so for those of you out there, and I'm sure most of you have had salamis, pepperonis, dry. Essentially, what that is, it's salted, it's cured, it's dry aged, and it's hung to cure wherever you are in the world. So sometimes in caves in France, because of the flavors it imparts. They all have a theory, but it's cured meat, and that's what we kind of call.
Also, to make it last longer. Is that?
Yes, yeah. Maybe back in the old days, it would help have the meat last a lot longer, but it gives it a denser flavor. So if you ever see like those old guys sitting on crates playing checkers, they have the vodka, they have their bread, right? Babushka made them some bread, and they have this tube of salami with a knife, and they just cut it. Oh, maybe some butter. They put it on the bread. That's it. They love it. Oh, and it's sunflower seeds.
You are so good at painting a picture.
Yes.
That's
so that's gonna be us. Daryl and I will be sitting in the park feeding pigeons, not with our meat. So I tell you that to tell you this: when you dry age beef for this long, it starts to form the consistency of that salami that you cut. Look at this.
Yeah, I didn't even.
This does not look like. I mean, it looks more like a charcuterie that you've cut.
Absolutely.
Right?
I didn't even think about that.
Have you ever had a charcuterie board at a restaurant? Little bits of cheeses, little flights of juniper berries, little assortments of
Perhaps some capers.
prosciuttos and buffalo mozzarellas and da. So this reminds me of that in a steak version.
Well, and even because you cut it, these are about quarter-inch cuts. If you, to your point, if you had a slicer, you could probably slice it almost to the, and you really would have something very similar to that, right? In a beef rather than pork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I hope I painted the picture.
Yeah.
We have the steak version of salami versus a traditional prime rib, prepared the same way. Now, if we have a drum roll, cue it now. Daryl, we need to crown a winner in today's Battle of the Beef. Now, I think I know what I'm gonna say, and I always say this to everybody. Before you make your decision, think about it like this. Here's a good.
You see me rolling my eyes? I don't want to be put in a corner and have to make a decision.
I want you to consider this, and this is a good way, actually, I feel, to decide. Think about, between the two of these, what you would crave for and eat at least 2 to 3 times a week. I'm not going to tell you mine. I already know mine, but I want to wait to hear Daryl's, and we'll find out who our winner is.
Okay.
Daryl, take the floor.
You threw a little bit of a qualifier in there, so I gotta. You opened the door for me to give a little explanation, okay? And I'm just being real.
Be real.
Real.
We're all about being real here on these eats. Sometimes.
And it goes back to what you said about this being. Personally, I think this would be better for sandwiches. So if I was gonna have it, you said 2 or 3 days a week. What I would do if I had a home slicer, I would slice it thin,
like a mandolin.
Yes, almost like when you get your deli meat sliced at the deli. That's, I think, would be the best way to serve this.
You talk.
And do it on it with some nice bread. You could probably even reheat it. You could do different things. It would. Different applications, right?
It elevates like your typical, salameria, cured meat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because essentially it's like what I said, it's a cured steak.
Excuse me, it's a cured steak, and it would be great, if you really wanted to treat your friends well and you had enough time to do it, and you're doing a tailgate before a football game.
Oh my God! Imagine
slice that
I've aged steak sliders for 3 months for y'all.
You'd be a hero forever.
Yeah. Well, they'll talk about you at least for a couple days until you're only as good as your last slider.
Yeah.
That's what I learned. Exactly.
But
unless you have good friends like this one here, they'll love you after.
I'm very forgiving, but he doesn't mess up very much.
Yeah, but he will remember last week. So,
what's your opinion on it? I mean, I love this as a tradition.
Guys, I'm gonna go right for the kill right now, and this is it. Drum roll, please. First of all, as a drum roll might not be beginning, I love the burnt ends of a prime rib. When I get in the restaurant, I say I want that burnt end, and I also kind of want some of that medium rare.
Burnt end in general is a good thing.
So here's my burnt end that I'm gonna just devour, which I love burnt ends, and I have the duality of this, which pleases me on that end, and I have duality of the medium rare steak that's delicious on the inside. So, because of those reasons, because I feel like this is a more versatile piece of meat, and of course it's more nostalgic for me. I've been doing this my whole life, and this is more of kind of just like it's nice to try it. Do I consider it a prime beef in my mind and how I've been raised to believe? No. This is an experiment. Is it bad? Oh no, it's delicious. But when I want a prime beef from now on, this is gonna be my prime beef go-to. So my winner, regular prime beef. Bing, bing, bing.
I completely understand your logic.
Yes.
If you know me, you know I love to eat a lot. I also enjoy working out. I feel if you commit to a diet, it's also worthwhile to commit to a workout plan. But let's get back to food. I've definitely tried my share of diets, including keto. However, I feel like everybody's body has a different reaction to different foods, even within common keto recipes. Through trial and error, I've noticed certain foods work better than others. However, creating a custom keto diet plan was unrealistic due to my time, or lack thereof. I would like to ask you to click on this link and watch the quick video and see if this is something that you might like to try. It's a custom keto diet kit that will work uniquely with your body. So, if you would like to learn more about getting to know exactly what to eat to lose unwanted fat without giving up your favorite menu items or starving yourself, if you are serious about transforming your body while eating awesome meals like wood-fired steak with roasted garlic and truffle butter, please click this link, which will also be in the description below this video. Thanks.
What's up, Denisians? I just wanted to bring you back around and touch up on some key points about dry aging. So you see my little fridge rig I have in my garage. I've been doing that for years, and honestly, in the beginning, I never thought that dry aging would be so simple that I could do it here at home, just out of an old fridge. But trust me, it's been working. Here I have a sample that I've been working on for about 100 and just below 150 days now. So I just wanted to make mention that this is a rib roast, and this is a primal cut. So why do we get such a big cut? Well, you saw that piece of meat that I had to chop up. It was a smaller cut. It was only about a 2 bone. And by the time I was done whittling it down, there's basically nothing left. So if you're gonna go really long, the pellicle is gonna extend deeper and deeper and deeper into the meat. I want you guys to consider this. This is a 4 bone in ribeye. Now, why do I want to get bone in? Because when the pellicle forms, this hard bit right here, it goes into the meat. However, with the bone, it's a protective layer, meaning when I'm ready to carve and peel all the pellicle off, I only need to go beyond the bone, because just beyond that is edible meat. So this will save you some meat in the dry aging process. It won't save you money, because as we've learned in the past, bones equal weight and weight equals money, and that's just loss. You're just taking a loss for flavor. And that's just well known. Another thing I want to mention is I have this sitting on a rack over Himalayan salt, just regular coarse salt. And you see my fridge was just basically layered with Himalayan salt blocks. I think that's very important to have Himalayan salt all around to help with the process of removing the bacteria. Now this one happens to be a prime grade. I have only been aging prime lately because of the fact that I've learned throughout the process that if you age a lesser grade or a choice, first of all, choice is great, it'll work, but if you get a select or even lower, it hardly has any fat content in it. So when it ages, it's just gonna be that much less flavorful and less. You also have to remember that there's going to be a lot less water in the meat, almost none. So if it has no fat to kind of counterbalance, it's not going to be that great. So I usually just age with prime. It's kind of like garbage in, garbage out. You know, you don't want to invest so much time in dry aging a cheap piece of meat, and then when you take it out, you're not going to get the full flavor profile that you're looking for. So I always recommend buying towards the higher end to dry age. So with this one in particular, I'm going for about 150 to 200 days. Now, if you're new to dry aging and you try something that's 100 days, like you saw us do, that 90-day one, you're not gonna like it. It's a thing that's nice to taste, to try, but it's just, you might like it, but it's such a different characteristic and such a different flavor than a typical steak. It's pretty much just as we described, but if you wanna taste a little bit of the dry agedness and get a little bit of a feel for it, I recommend going up to 30 days to 40 days max. 60 days for me is my favorite because you really get a good funk in it and it still kind of tastes like a steak. And then when you go over 60, it's just into experimental territory, which we've been doing. Just because it's fun and we like to test stuff out. I recommend that if you're starting out, start out for 30 days and then maybe after that go on to 40. If you're really feeling ambitious, go right to 60. That's my favorite point. So let me know what you think. One last thing I wanted to touch up on is what do we do with this huge primal cut once we want to stop at 30 or 40 or 60 days and we're not ready to eat the whole thing? So what I always do is first when I'm done and I'm ready and I've reached my date that I want it to end, I'll take it out of the fridge and I'll start carving like you've seen me do until I have the entire piece that's edible ready to go. At that point, I get rid of my pellicle and my waste, and then I take a ruler and I'll measure between 1 inch to 1.5 inch slices. And I'll just go ahead and slice it, and I will put it in a vacuum seal bag. Then I'm gonna vacuum seal it, and then I'm gonna put it in my freezer. You wanna make sure you vacuum seal it because it'll take all the air out and you'll be able to leave it in the freezer for, gosh, I would say I've left some stuff up there for 2 years. And I know people tend to wanna put a date on frozen meat, but if your freezer is consistent and it works great and there's no air in it at all inside of the vacuum bag, your meat can last for a long, long time. I'm not gonna put a date on it. You just keep your eyes on it and you can tell. Once it starts getting freezer burn, you can obviously tell. That won't happen if it's properly vacuum sealed and put in a freezer. I'm learning as I go along. I hope you guys are learning as you go along with me. And let's just have some fun, all right? Thank you for watching these eats. Please subscribe to our channel. Please click that bell. Please hit that like button if you like us, if you'd like to subscribe. Either way, thank you guys. See y'all later.